best-selling author Pat Brown. Pat, good morning to you.
And good morning.
This case is so, frankly, bizarre to a lot of people. How likely is this theory that this was a case of sex trafficking? And if it wasn't sex trafficking, could it be a straight kidnapping?
Well, the sex trafficking thing is the least likely motive, in my opinion. First of all, she's a 34-year-old woman. She's basically almost middle-aged. That is not the woman they're going to steal, kidnap for sex trafficking. Guys like young girls. They like the 16-year-old, 17-year-old. And you can get them. There are prostitutes out there already. There are drug addicts. There's runaways. There's a lot of easier people to get, even, quote, blonde women, than a 34-year-old woman who's going to set off a huge police investigation and get her photo everywhere, all over the internet and every media. You don't want that kind of pressure when you're grabbing somebody for sex trade. You want somebody that nobody's going to miss. Makes absolutely no sense. And you also you don't cut their hair off, brutalize them, and mess them up so that their the product isn't even worth anything.
Pat, the special that aired last night, I didn't get a chance to see it. I know that you did. Did that clear up any of the questions that you have about this case?
It actually made it worse. There are a lot of people who question whether this is a hoax, and there's good reason for that. The husband came on, and he's saying their family's very private, yet he's going on a show and he's giving tremendous amount of information about the family. He seems to be trying to convince us that his wife is an absolutely fantastic person, that he's a fantastic person, their family is happy, and that she was beaten. But he doesn't seem to be very concerned about catching the people who did this.
You're a criminal profiler.
Yeah.
Then what? I don't want to speculate, but what does your gut tell you, or what are you thinking then?
It is really. It's one of those things you have to say. If you were a police detective, you're going to actually have to look at all the evidence, and you're going to have to look at all the statements. For example, one of the things the husband said, which really kind of threw me, was he said when he came home and found his wife missing and his kids missing, which is, they just might have been out someplace walking, he looked around and then he went on an app to find her phone, to find where he could locate her. He never says he called her. Then he says he called her mother and he called the daycare, and then he went back to the app. He still doesn't call her. Why wouldn't he just call his wife to find out where she is? I mean, these are the things that throw up red flags. Now, that doesn't mean he's guilty of anything. It doesn't mean she's guilty of anything. But the detectives have to take a look at all of these things that don't make sense. And pretty much none of this case makes sense at all.
Strange. All right, Pat Brown, thank you for your perspective.
To be clear, we should note here, I think that the husband, he